Your friends are scrolling through short content, but you, my friend, you're here to learn. Welcome to DRS Clips. You compared this phase to the Industrial Revolution phase. I'd like for you to briefly explain exactly what happened in the Industrial Revolution. And I'd also like for you to explain who the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth players were.
Yeah. So you see, in the Industrial Revolution, Britain first, with the steam engine, they were able to mechanize factories to work better than human labor. And then with electricity, they electrified factories. So there were two parts to that revolution. And then France came later. So this way they were able to compete against any other manufacturing society. Until then, India was a very top manufacturing society, very rich. But they dismantled all the Indian industry, turned it into British Industrial Revolution.
What did we manufacture?
So we were manufacturing textiles, which became the first product that the British started manufacturing in their Industrial Revolution. They took our textile and started making in factories with electricity. And we didn't have the electricity. And the other one was steel. So between steel and textiles, they took over a large part of the world economy. So we became a labor and market for their goods. Now what is going to happen with AI is something similar. Algorithms and machines and robots are going to run much of the world. But the point is, who controls the algorithm? It is Bill Gates who controls some algorithms. It is Facebook people. Zuckerberg, he controls controls algorithms. It is people like that. There will be a few oligarchs. We think oligarch means Russian, but oligarch can be anyone who's so rich that through his power, his money, and technology, he's controlling people like dictator would control people. But he's not considered a politician. He's just sitting behind, and through his technology, he's controlling.
He's a rich and powerful man.
Rich and powerful man. So now, this is the return of the East India Company. I'm predicting. That is the Googles of the world that are like the new East India Company. And they are going to rule through their technology, through their algorithms. They're going to control a large part of the world. And sad thing is, our country has welcomed them rather than building our own platform like China is building. China said, we will not use the American platform, we'll build our own because it's a strategic asset, it's a weapon. We want to have our own weapons. India, the Geo and everybody is bringing in the American platforms and giving them more power. So we're bringing in Google. Now, Chat GPT, we think it's a favor to us that we can train Chat GPT in Marathi, Hindi and all that. Actually, the more we train it, the more intelligent we're making them about us. They're learning to figure us out because we're training this Chat GPT. We should be building our own. This is a problem.
Why aren't narratives like this out there more?
Well, I think the convenience is to make quick money, jugaad money. And the way you make jugaad money is you don't think long term. You hire a tech person for $10,000 and you rent him out for $30,000-$40,000. So we are renting the brains of our brilliant people. We have smart, young, brilliant technocrats. And rather than making Indian technology, the patents belonging to India, we are helping the clients in the foreign countries build their technology with our labor. So all these people made their money, Infosys and TCS and Mahindra, they made their money renting out Indian brains to Americans and as a middleman making a lot of money. We think they are heroes. In a sense, they have done good. They brought money. They've created a middle class. But in China, when they rented out the labor of their factory workers, because they had a factory worker with a cheap labor, they rented it to Americans to make cheap factories. They took half the profit and reinvested it into futuristic technology. Into solar, into artificial intelligence, into machine learning, into this fiber optics, and into quantum computing. In all of these kind of things they invested in. We did not. We just made quick money. You hire somebody and rent him out, make a money, and enjoy a good life, become very rich, build a high-rise building, all this fancy lifestyle. But we did not invest in futuristic technologies. India is very behind strategic R&D.
Okay. It's important for these narratives to be out there because as of now on the Indian internet, we only have narratives like, it's India's decade, it's India's next 20 years, we are going to be number one, but this is the truth.
So there is a difference between being successful as a consumer and being successful as a producer. So you understand, being from the film industry, the person who is the producer of the movie and whether he's number one is one kind of judgment. The other kind of judgment is the consumers, who are the big consumers. So if we are a consumer society using American products, are we successful or is America successful? When we say we have the largest number of WhatsApp users, are we being successful or is it Facebook who owns the WhatsApp? The Malik to wahi hai na. They are the people who own the technology. We are using it. So we are doing very well, bringing in all kind of new technology, but it's all mostly American technology. We are bringing it to all the villages, but we are also increasing our dependency on them by doing that.
Just want to highlight a very boiled down geopolitical lesson I've learned over the course of all these podcasts, which is that if you're rich and if you have the resources, you are ahead in the geopolitical game of the world. So basically, when you are a consumer of these products from America and China, you are sending money there, you're getting them to be richer and more powerful.
Right.
Therefore, they are ahead in the geopolitical game.
So the economy is that we are buying their technology, lot of technology, for which we need money. And we are buying oil, for which we need money. So we're renting out our brains. But we are renting out our brains to do work for them, building their assets. It's like you bring some thousands of workers from a poor village in Bihar, and he comes to Mumbai and he builds high-rise buildings. He may send money home and his relatives may be very proud that he's gone to Mumbai and he's driving cars and all that stuff. But he doesn't own those buildings. He's making buildings for somebody else. He owns zero asset.
Let's kind of break down the maths a little bit here.
Yeah.
You're basically adding money to your family's bank account.
Yes.
And you'd assume that if every family in India becomes slightly richer, they're in that slightly positive green zone,
yes,
the whole country also becomes rich, which it does.
It does. Yes, absolutely. It's better than not doing it. But China is doing it even better, saying we will make money, but half of that money, the rich man who's the broker, because, one is the consumer, laborer, the worker making money. But then the broker who is buying you for 10,000 and selling you for 30, 40,000, he's making a lot of money. And he's the guy who we are giving Padma Vibhushan and saying this guy must be famous because he's so rich. He ought to have a responsibility to reinvest in long-term technology, to look for what will happen in 5-10 years rather than just making money today.
Again, this is why, one, I enjoy these podcasts with you. Two, I find it slightly challenging because I have to keep boiling it down. What I was saying about the mathematics in terms of there are greens, there are profits you see in every Indian family. India generally will become richer. But what we are investing our time and energy towards is making America or China actually much richer. The greens on that side are much
jumping
more.
on faster.
Okay.
And then, we have to buy the technology back because we don't have all these technologies. Everything that we are using in this technology is made in America or made in China. Hardware comes from China, all these phones, etc. And they're using it to spy on us. The surveillance they're doing. And all the software and all the networks and all are made in USA. Owned by USA, often made in India. So, when we say make in India, that's not good enough. It should be owned in India. We have to be the Malik of the technology, not just make it for someone else.
No, you got to break down this point.
So you may be making a film, but somebody else is the owner of the film. You are making a film as an employee of a company. And you may be a brilliant filmmaker, but you don't own that film. Movie belongs to someone else. So I'm talking about we have to become the owner of this technology.
Okay.
And not just the labor helping them make it.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try kind of encapsulating what you said. You're saying produce your own technology.
Yes.
Because in today's industrial revolution or AI revolution, technology is the weapons. Technology is the means forward.
Yes.
You're saying we should keep it at home. We build it here. And we keep it here, keep making it more powerful because those two big players are getting very powerful because of the same logic.
And they are using our brains.
Okay.
They're using our brains to make themselves rich.
Okay.
And so this is the problem that I think Indian policymakers have not figured out.
Let's boil it down to a very everyday level. We have a lot of college students listening to this, a lot of parents listening to this kind of a podcast. Is your message to them, and this is my message, try not sending your kids abroad to study, probably. That's one aspect of it. Like kind of fuel them into like India's growth. They'll figure out how to make money. India's very different now as compared to 10 years ago when I was graduating from engineering college. There wasn't this much opportunity. So a lot more opportunity now. But also, would you add any other points? Don't purchase Chinese products.
No, I would say that they should put their energy on Indian startups and don't sell out the startup to an American venture capital. A lot of Indians are doing startups, but when the startup is successful, Google buys it out. Microsoft buys it out. So because the man gets rich, the entrepreneur gets rich, he sells out. I think Indians should create the next big Googles and the giants in India and keep the ownership in India. And Indian industrialists should fund it. Indian industrialists should go and fund the IITs to create startups. Indian government should fund these. We have brains. We should be using our brains to create our own technology and own it here.
Okay. Are people like PM Modi, Dr. Jaishankar, and Mukesh Ambani thinking along these lines?
No. PM Modi and Jaishankar are not technocrats, so I don't blame them. But Mukesh Ambani should be thinking like that, and Mahindra should be thinking like that. They are not. They're looking at what's the business model for them that they can make money fast within 3 to 5 years. They're not thinking like the Chinese did. What is 10 to 20 years, 10 to 15 years from now? What's the technology that we ought to invest in? Now, it's good that Jio is starting to invest in 6G, which is the next after 5G. They are. But it's a small amount. They're not anywhere in the top 5 or 10 in that technology. So I think as a percentage of GDP, India's spend on R&D is very small compared to other countries. So we are not even statistically, even officially, we're spending a very small amount on future R&D.
Basically science.
Basically science and technology and patents and discovering new things.
Okay. And this doesn't look likely to change either.
It doesn't look likely to change because the investment, that is an investment where you're not going to get any benefit fast. You're going to get benefit. It's a different kind of infrastructure, like building highways we are doing. Highways and physical infrastructure also takes years. And then you get the benefit. We see that. R&D is a different kind of, it's an intellectual infrastructure that you're building. You will own it. Just like the highway you will own. Nobody can take it away from you. So similarly, technology which is made in India for Indians, by Indians, should stay in India. And that is how we can compete against China.
Okay.
I give credit to China for starting as a very poor country, even poorer than India 40, 50 years ago. And look where it's come.
Basically boils down to different human mentality, right?
Yes.
Cultural mentality.
Yes.
What would you say China's cultural mentality is?
So first, they are able to sacrifice the individual for the sake of the group. Chinese are collective. Whenever you go, they behave collectively like one gang, kind of, together. Indian is individual. They'll fight each other also. Chinese will be not fighting each other so much. They'll be together. Second is they're able to think long term and sacrifice the short term. And their philosophy teaches them obedience of authority. Confucian philosophy, the emperor is like we have Bhagwan, they have emperor. And so they listen. Now the emperor is President Xi. He's like the emperor. They listen to him. So then the system of democracy we have means that there's always elections. You always have to win over people emotionally. And if you piss them off, if you piss them off, they're not going to vote for you. And they're going to just, go somewhere else. So you always have to appease them, make them happy, do things that are popular. Even if it's bad long term, you have to do things that are popular. Whereas China can say, okay, 5 years, you have to tighten your belt. Nobody's going to get any benefits. That's a danda. But 5 years later, we'll all be better off. They can force people into things that are good for the long term. Whereas in a democracy, you have to appease people to win elections all the time.
Some heavy duty stuff, Mr. Malhotra. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out this playlist for more videos just like this. It's TRS Clips.